So we're going to start this course not with a question about AI or a question about maths or a question about statistics. I'm going to start this course with a question about you. I want you to think about the following thing. All things considered, how satisfied are you with your life as a whole these days? Use a 0 to 10 scale, where 0 is dissatisfied and 10 is satisfied, to give your answer. Now, you might have your own personal answer, but what researchers at Gallup have done is they've gone over the entire world and they've asked this question in different countries. And we can see some of the results they've got here. If we compare different countries, we see that there's a relationship here between how happy people are in different countries and how long they're likely to live their lives. So to see that, you can consider Finland and the UK at the top here. Finland is the happiest country in the world, or at least people who live there, they say that they're happy. And then further down, we have Yemen, is one of the unhappiest countries in the world, where people live the shortest amount of time. Benin has a little bit of a shorter life expectancy, but people are a lot happier there anyway. And we have the USA here, where people are somewhere in between, and Croatia is also somewhere in between. So there is some sort of relationship we can see between how happy people say they are and how long they're likely to live in different countries. And it's that relationship which we're going to investigate here. And this is really important because all through this course, we're going to find out that things like AI, machine learning, statistical modeling, they're all about finding relationships in data. So I've shown you some data. I've proposed that I think there might be a relationship looking at the different data points. But how can we quantify and measure that relationship? And the answer in this particular case is using a method called linear regression. What linear regression does is it tries to find the best line through all of the data points. And so we've got two different examples here. Here's one line, and here's another line. And which one is closest to the cloud of data points? So you can see the cloud in the background here. You can see the countries, the dark dots are the countries that I highlighted, the UK, the USA, Benin, and so on. And we're going to try and find the line that goes closest to all of these points. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to measure the distance between the model, this model line, and the data. We want to find the line with the minimum distance to the data points. Now, there's going to be a few steps for us to do that. And I want to give you just a little bit of an overview before we go into the details. So in order to find out this relationship, we also need to have an equation which measures these distances. And to do that, we're going to use the least squares method. Now, y here is each of my data points. M is the slope of my line, and x is my x data point. And what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to find the slope, m, which minimizes all of these sums of squares. Now, don't worry if you haven't got that yet, because Blessing is going to go through this in the next video, but that's the overview of what we're going to try and do. And what she's going to introduce is a bit of a bigger equation here, but this is basically the sum of all of those squares I've shown you. And then she's also going to show you that in order to find the minimum, you need to use differentiation. So this is the differentiation that we're going to come to finally. So that's all a bit of overwhelming to start with, but what she's going to argue is that if you can understand the following mathematics, then you'll be able to understand the more complicated mathematics. And now this is much more familiar to us. So 4 minus 2m squared, that's an equation in terms of m. And we know already, or if you don't know, you can look up in one of the linked videos. We know already how to take the derivative of that. And it's the same steps we're going to take in calculating the least squares. Finally, we're going to show you that this line and no other line is the best fit model through this data. And there really is a relationship between life expectancy at birth and how happy people are. Going back to yourself, this doesn't mean it determines how happy you are. Your answer that you thought about at the start, whether it was 0, I really hope it wasn't. I hope it wasn't 2 either. But your answer, maybe it was a 7, an 8, a 9, or a 10. Your answer is for you, but these are the country averages. So it doesn't tell us exactly how happy we're going to be or how long we're going to live, but it gives a country average and compares those country averages. What we're going to find out throughout this course is that mathematics is the basis for all AI techniques and all of the way that we try to model the world. So maths is going to be central and statistics is going to be central to building up our understanding of AI.